Hi, this is Dave, Fell Running Guide, with another navigation task. This one's not really a task in its own, it's more of a follow-up from the previous task, which was number 53. And in this one, what we're going to do is we're just going to look at the Ordnance Survey map and the Harvey map, compare the two, and see if we can work out what the main differences are and which one would be easier to use for the task. So if you haven't looked at task number 53 yet, it might be worthwhile you doing so. I'll put a link to it up here in the top right hand corner of the screen, because it assumes that in this thing that we're going to do, you've got some knowledge of the previous task. So what we looked at in that task, we had the photograph, and we wanted to work out where it was taken and identify this feature red, and we used the Ordnance Survey Explorer 1 to 25,000 map. And what we determined is that the photograph was taken from this point here, just on the northern edge path of Kinder, and we were looking northwards down through Ashop Moor, down through the dome shape of Dean Hill towards Blackton View Farm, and we were looking for the feature that was then to the left of that. And what we worked out was that it was this, or this collection of buildings here, and the map didn't show the trees around it, but we worked that out from various other features that made sense. So that was the Explorer Ordnance Survey 1 to 25,000. What we're going to look at now is the Harvey Maps, same scale, 1 to 25,000 Superwalker map. And there we have it. Photograph was taken from this point here on the edge path, again looking down northwards through Ashop Moor. Quite obvious the dome or mound of Dean Hill, looking down northwards, and there the buildings of Blackton View Farm. And here straight away we can see to our left we've got a feature in green with the buildings around it, so that green there showing that there's some woodland, so in contrast to the Ordnance Survey map that doesn't show that. So might be that Harvey works in that case. It shows us it's a bit more obvious what we're looking for. What about if we were looking and we wanted to identify these stream features that are draining down? So again, you can look on the Ordnance Survey, and they're quite obvious straight away there, those blue lines draining down off the hillside, draining to the south down towards the river Ashop. What about the Harvey map? So on here, those features aren't shown as streams, are they? So there's the farm, and what we've got instead are these kinks in the contours, these re-entrants. So yes, we could interpret them and say that they are features and we can see them, but are they as clear and obvious straight away as these on the Ordnance Survey map? So maybe, maybe not. What about this feature higher up the hillside? So it starts, runs and finishes there. Ordnance Survey map, yeah, straight away we might look at that and say, yeah, that's that stream there, coming down, finishing, and then the other streams start. On the Harvey map, again, nothing there. Now we might look at it. What about this kink in the contours there? Is that it? Or what about this single little kink in the contours there? Is that it? So let's look at these kinks in the contours first, going up the hillside above this corner of this field system. What we'll notice here is on the Ordnance Survey map we've got an extra wall line here, and that runs up that re-entrant line. So all this wall system here and across here on the Ordnance Survey, but not shown on the Harvey. It's not even shown as a ruined wall, but that re-entrant is quite clear there, so it's not obscured by a feature. On here we've got the start of the blue line, but then we have to look a little bit more closely there. It's actually underneath that wall line. So wall line shown and wall line not shown. Hard to see on the map whether that wall is actually there or not. So on the photograph we can see the wall on the other side that's shown on both maps, but here it's harder to tell. But let's go back to walls. So on the Ordnance Survey we've just got black lines shown as boundaries, most often walls, not always, might be fences, but most often walls, certainly on the higher ground and higher landscape. Here we've got a difference. So imagine that we're stood where the photo was taken, going down through Ashop Moor, and we get to this grey line here. See that running along there? Whereas on the Ordnance Survey it's this thick black line which shows a boundary. Now the reason it's a grey line on the Harvey map is that it's defined as a ruined wall, or the remains of a wall, rather than a wall in good repair or a maintained wall. So that would give us a clue that it'd be harder to spot. There might only be the footings of it in there, whereas on the Ordnance Survey map you don't know whether you're looking for a 5 foot high great big thing that's obvious from miles off. So a subtle difference there. Not sure why they haven't put this wall system in there. Maybe it's an update on the mapping that there used to be wall up there or a fence line, and it's not even worth noting on the map now. It's just not even there. One thing we will see is if we were looking at the photograph and we were trying to work out our elevation based on things on the opposite hillside, we might say, well, yeah, we're at least above the head of this stream here, or the source of the stream, so we want to sort of compare that elevation to where we're at. Well, if we look on the Ordnance Survey map, we can identify that stream and say, right, well, that starts at 450 metres, so we've got to be at least 450 metres on our side of the valley. We can come and work out from the contour lines here. So there's the 555 spot height. So this is going to be the 550, 500, and working down in 50 metre intervals. If we look on the Harvey map, there's no height shown on these index contours or on any of the contours there. There's some shown here, and there's one shown here, but if we want to sort of compare one against the other, that's a bit harder. These contours are in 15 metre intervals, whereas the Ordnance Survey are in tens. So to try and work out the exact elevation there and then come back over to here, it's a bit harder to do the mental maths with that. So that might be an advantage that the Ordnance Survey has over the Harveys, certainly on that side of the hill. But even on this side we can look at this contour here, the 500, and trace it round the index contour, and it's easier there. So basically there are pros and cons of each. It doesn't mean that one's better than the other. Certainly The green showing the woodland around that feature is straight away easier. Some of the more subtle features you might prefer the Ordnance Survey. I think the bottom line is, if we want to be good navigators, good map readers, we need to be familiar with both. And certainly if you're going to do a race where you get provided with a map and you get provided with a Harvey map, it's no good saying, oh well, I'm not very good at using Harvey map because I only use Ordnance Survey. So using the two is, being able to use the two is certainly an advantage. So I hope there's some interesting points from that. Certainly I think it's useful knowing the difference between the two. Anyway, that's all from me. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.